Thank you.
Yeah.
I just knew this would happen.
Yeah. Well, it was apparent in your energy that you had a desire and belief. Your desire and belief were going in the same direction, and so you lighted up. You were undeniable.
Thank you. I just want to say that it's my first time here, and I really appreciate Esther and the team that travels.
Yeah. Esther appreciates Esther and the team that travels too.
Amazing. It made it available for me to drive from where I came from. So
that's the plan.
Thank you. So I have two questions. The first is about my inner being, and the second is simply just based on what you said. I've been learning. I would prefer to simply clean up my vibration around money. I would just simply prefer to clean it up, and any help you could offer there would be fantastic.
For two reasons. The most important being because it feels better.
Yes.
And the second reason because then those thoughts turn to things, and that's fun.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So with my inner being, I recently feel like it's taken me on a little bit of a wild goose chase.
Yeah, but you're the wild goose and you're causing it. We want to hear you out, but we just have to stick this in here. Earlier we were talking about how you're being called through your path of least resistance, and that you put all the resistance on the path. Here's a good way of looking at it. So did you sort of follow that notion of, here's your vibrational reality? We've called that the vortex. Wrote a whole book about that, wanting you to believe the reality of that too. So here's this vibrational reality, this vortex of creation, and it's this very high vibration. So you, wherever you are having a relationship with this very high knowledge about who you really are and what you want. So if you're in the vibrational vicinity of that, then when that energy calls you, you go easily and you say, no wild goose chase. I just went, it was fun, it was swift, it was powerful. But if you're in a place of more resistance, well, you can still hear the call, but sometimes it feels like a wild goose chase. Your inner being is calling you to this so that it can call you to this, so that it can call you to this. And your inner being isn't actually plotting out, well, if I can get him over here, then I can get him over here, and then I can get him over here, and then I can get him over here. But it's kind of like that.
That is how it felt.
Because you've got different pockets of resistance. It's like Esther losing her gold pen, couldn't find it, looked for it for weeks, emptied all of her drawers, emptied all of her purses, looked and looked and looked, finally said, I guess I'm just going to have to give up. I've lost it somewhere. And within a day was looking for something else. And when she came out, instead of the perfume bottle, she came out with the gold pen. And she said, I know I looked in that handbag 20 times. And we said, you can't find what you believe is lost. And so that's why it feels like you're going on a while, because your inner being is having to call you through your beliefs that are hindering you from going more swiftly. Also, sometimes a more scenic route
dynamic
is preferred.
Well, the knowledge that I gained from, because I just followed what felt good, and I just checked. Before I took that action, I checked. Would this be better? Would this be better? So I checked and I got the good feelings, and I did that, and then I did that, and then I did that, and then I came to a new conclusion.
So you started to say something, say it fully. So the knowledge that you gained from the wild goose chase
is a new preference and a clarity.
So are you saying that, you think you're saying, because we want you to be saying this. In your vortex,
yes,
there are many things that you want, and your inner being, in calling you, is calling you to many of them at the same time. While you may be fixated on something that you just asked for yesterday, your inner being remembers some other things that you have been asking for, and so you're being called to all of them simultaneously, so that there's a convergence of so much of who you are and so much of what you want happening all the time. Talk about a sweet spot.
I'm going to have to listen to the recording for that one.
We'll say it again. So your vortex is full of many things that you want. And let's say there's something more immediate on your mind, and your inner being is calling you toward that because your lack of resistance is allowing it. But there are other things that over time you've put in your vortex also. Like, for example, let's say, we'll be very brief about this, but it's hooking up with several of you, so we want to take a minute to say this. So let's say you're looking for employment, and you want something that pays really well. So you've been interviewing and you get a call back, and then you get offered a position. and it feels really good to you. You're really exhilarated about it. But then it doesn't come about. And you feel like, oh, what happened? Because I wanted it and it was almost there and then it didn't come about. Well, in your vortex was a desire for a good paying job, but you also wanted something where the people around you were playing well together, or that you wanted a job where you could have expansion beyond anything that you now know. And this job, while it paid well, didn't include that. So your inner being didn't call you all the way to that, because there is something else that satisfies more money and more expansion. And then you didn't quite get that one either, because there's something else that satisfies even more, the more money and the expansion and more flexible time. Your inner being is calling you to everything that you want, and to the degree that you can patiently allow yourself, then you can have a really nice time as your life continues to unfold. And of course, it wouldn't matter if you took the first one, because that contrast would cause you to put more into your vortex, and very soon your inner being could call you over there. And it wouldn't matter if you didn't have it all active in your vibration. When you got over there, the things that are missing would activate, and then your inner being would call you over there. That's why so many people are moving around, because things are always working out for you. Things are always working out for you. And if you could just know that, then you might enjoy this job that doesn't fulfill everything but gives you a lot of money right now. And then, oh, there's that one. Oh, I like this one even more, because here's a whole lot of money and a whole lot of fun too. And oh, look over there. There I get to be part of something important that I've wanted to do since I was very young. There's no ending to where you're going. And this is for sure. You're not staying where you are for very long, ever. Either where you are has to keep expanding to keep up with who you are, or you got to go someplace else. Because you are expanding, you see. That was really good. So we sort of jumped in the middle of what you were wanting to talk about, but you understood that clearly. So
I did. I think at the end what you left me with is like, really everything is working out, and
every minute. And sometimes there are spurts of it. It's like, have you ever been on a river in a raft? And sometimes the river gets wide and it's a little slow. And sometimes the river gets narrow and you get hold of a current that really takes you swiftly. Well, your life is like that, and your focus is what causes it to slow down a little bit where you can catch your breath, or speed up a little bit where it's more exhilarating. Yeah. So there were more things that you were reaching for.
The second thing about money, I know that there is like massive empires of wealth.
You have no idea. We've seen.
Like, I get that, and people have told me that. Other people that can see it as well, they've told me that. So it's just validation. I know it's there. So
well, validation from others is not worth anything.
Okay.
Because
true.
You can't offer vibration about that. But if it helps you to focus and helps you to feel for it.
Right.
So as you encourage that visceral feeling of exhilaration about, wow, what's unfolding, that's all you need to do. Just stay happily optimistic. That's all you have to do. Just stay happily optimistic and say things to the universe like, bring it whenever I'm ready for it, and I'll do my best to get ready for it as quickly as I can, but meanwhile I'm having a really good time. Meanwhile, I'm having a really good time. I'm satisfied where I am and eager for more. That is the best vibrational stance. I'm loving where I am and so eager for what's coming next. I love where I am and so eager for what's coming next. There's only engines going that way. Yeah.
So with money, is that all I'm supposed to do?
That's the only thing in your vortex. We've looked and looked and looked. There's no humanity, there's no fun, there's nothing, there's just only money in there. Of course not. Here's the specific answer to you and your specific question. If we can convince you, we'd like all of you to feel this with us. If we can convince you that being in this body, and focused on something that is interesting, and therefore accomplishing clarity, that's as good as it gets. And it doesn't matter what the subject of your attention is. Focus and find clarity, and then experience the evolution of whatever it is you're focused upon. So in the beginning, often it is money, because in your human mind, and we get why, money feels like the key to so many things for you. It provides easier access and easier freedom. It's certainly not the answer to most of what's in your vortex or in your heart, but it is a wonderful facilitator. Certainly not the only thing there, but it's a nice thing to be there. You equate financial remuneration with freedom, and freedom is essential to you allowing for yourself all of the wonderful things that you're wanting. And then once money starts flowing, Esther caught a little piece of a television program last night where the Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation was doing all of this wonderful work all around the world. But the money was important to the work that they are doing. And so once the money began flowing, then their attention could begin turning to other avenues that they were wanting. If the money hadn't been there, then the other ideas could not have flowed behind them. Sort of like that.
Mm-hmm. So I should just let my freedom flow and my vortex flow, and the money will flow.
Yes, yes, yes. And we would add to that, let your interests flow. Because if something feels compelling and interesting to you, you can be certain that there's enough in your vortex that has been coming together and enough cooperative components have been gathered that there is something surprising and delighting that is unfolding for you. Don't try to get too specific about what it is. You see, often people say, well, I want more money and I'm going to do it in this way and this way. And so it's not only what I want, but you try to figure out how it's going to come, when it's going to come, where it's going to come from, who's going to be part of it. And when you ask all those questions to which you don't have answers, you pile all these engines going the other way on your train. Where if you just talk about what you want and why you want it, now you're open-ended going that way. You're not bringing any undue resistance to your equation, and then the ideas unfold along the way, because it is certain that all that you intended as you came into this physical body is in your vortex, and all that you've picked up along your physical trail is in there, and your inner being knows everything about who you are and what you want, and knows the path that will bring you the most success. And do you know what your inner being terms success? Your happiness, your day-to-day, moment-to-moment happiness. Most people say, my success is about money and influence and power. Well, we're talking about influence and power and money. Also, we're talking about connection to source energy, where the energy that creates worlds is flowing through you. But success is about the way you feel. Success is about you closing that gap between you and you. It's like we were teasing yesterday. If you want to toast some bread and you stubbornly refuse to plug the toaster in, you can go through all the other motions, all the successful motions. You're looking right there on the instructions, and you get the bread out and you carefully take the slices out and you wrap the bread back up so it doesn't get stale, and you put it in the toaster and you push down the buttons, and then you wait for quite a long while, but you haven't plugged the toaster in and you're not going to get toast. So what you really want is alignment. And alignment will always bring you joy and satisfaction and clarity, and those are the keys to success, and everything else follows that. Everything else follows that.
Thank you. That's very clear. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Enough?
Thank you.
Really good.